Welcome to this week's all new, but basically the same, update following my Mounjaro weight loss journey. Coming up, we're going to have the all new improved weekly update covering my diet, my exercise, what having no alcohol has done to my body, the impact that it's had on the scales. But before all that, we're still going to have the community news with the tips, advice, queries, questions from you lot. But for now, let's go straight on into the waffle section. Howdy to everyone who knows me, but for all those who don't, I'm Phil. I'm going to cover a few things in this week's waffle section, but don't worry, it's going to be nowhere near as long as last week's. That I don't think that'll ever be beaten unless something major comes up. But yeah, I'm going to start with waffle section love. Now, what exactly do I mean by that? What I mean by that, I think the waffle section love is a great example of why you should always try and put a positive spin on something negative that's going on where possible. I know it's not always possible, but I always try my best to try and do that. So what I mean by this is, for all those that have been following since the early days, the first few videos, if you watch them, you'll know the waffle section's always been there or thereabout in some format. And what I originally used it to do was spend the first couple of minutes getting comfortable in front of the camera, which was my phone at the time. It's now a proper camera, but it was to use to calm myself down, take a few deep breaths, get ready and think about the way I was going to deliver it to you guys, which, you know, I still don't know how I do that. It just comes out basically the way. But I do feel that the longer I go into the video, the more calm I feel and the better I can get my thoughts and opinions across. So yeah, it's always been there in some format. Then one day I got a comment, and I think they were trying to be, you know, positive and constructive, but they said, you know, no one wants to hear that. No one wants to hear the first bit. You want to cut out the first 10 minutes. You know, they actually said you want to cut out the first 10 minutes of waffling and just get straight to the point. No one wants to hear that. Now, I thought about that and I thought, oh God, I've upset someone, that they might be right. And then in the next video, I put some chapters in, and I even mentioned it in the 5th video this was that I'd ever done, and said, look, if you don't want to listen to me waffling on, I completely understand. I put some chapters in, you can skip right to the bit you want, go straight to the update or the way, you know, whatever you want to do. I then grew in a little confidence, and a few people started saying to me, no, don't worry about it. You do it how you want. And that was early days in the first few videos, and that gave me a bit of confidence to carry on with it and use it the way it was. And then it grew from where it was, and the people were saying, embrace it, enjoy it. I was. And then as the videos continued, we needed names for the section of the videos, and I thought it'd be a really good idea to call it the waffle section. You know, that was after someone called me out saying I waffle too much. I thought the best way I could, you know, address this in the future when I'd gained a bit of confidence was to call it the waffle section. Might seem a bit petty, but that was just what I thought of doing at the time. But yeah, without those words, getting back to the original point, without those words of encouragement, I really don't think the waffle section would exist. And the reason I'm mentioning this, and this goes back to the whole point of the love for the waffle section, is a lot of you genuinely seem to enjoy the waffle section. And I probably get more appreciation and thanks from the waffle section than I do for any other parts of the videos. I also think due to that might be why the channel's grown so quickly. You know, we're closing in on 10,000 subscribers in just over 3 months, which is I haven't even got words for it. It's mind-blowing. Think that there's 10,000 people nearly subscribed to me, and all you guys watching week in, week out is back to the, I'm getting sidetracked, back to the point. If I would have listened to the negative comments and stripped it out, it wouldn't be here. But what I did is I took the negativity, and with some guidance and help and encouragement from people, I took the negative, put a positive spin on it, and now we've got what is definitely my favorite part of this video, and it seems to be a lot of your favorite part of the video, the waffle section. So thank you for the waffle section love that I've been getting over the last few weeks and months, and there's a lot more waffling to come from me in the future, even if there's the odd person who still doesn't like it. So this positivity ties into the second point I'd like to make this week, and this is around people who don't get off to a huge weight loss at the beginning of their Mounjaro journey. Now, I've had a few, it seems to be a little bit of an influx of comments recently saying things like, you know, I've only lost X amount of pounds, you know, 1 or 2 pounds in the first 3 weeks, 6 pounds in the first 2 months, or 10 pounds in the first 6 weeks, and so on and so on. And you know, I completely get that, and so on. And we're getting where, you know, what we all do. It's a little bit of envy, maybe, a little bit of, I don't think jealousy is the right word, but you know, you see all these fantastic stories and you think, why not me? Why has it not happened to me? You know, those who drop 10 to 15 pounds in the first week or two, you know, and I thought this would be a really good point to bring this up. Everyone's so different. be patient. You know, we're all so different. There's so many variables as why it changes, you know, not why it changes. There's so many variables as to why it's different for every one of us from the outset, which makes every journey so unique and why we won't all lose it in the same way. Some people like me will see bigger losses at the start, like I did, but you'll also struggle further down the road, like I am. Some will be slow at the beginning, they see it pick up over time as the weight loss grows and speeds up. And others will just trickle along, a pound or two a week from the start right the way to the end of the journey. There's so many ways this happens and so many variables. I couldn't even start to explain. I don't even know the reasons why. But as I said, it's because we're all so unique. You know, everyone's body's different. The amount of that hormone you originally have before you start taking Mounjaro and the weight loss drugs, it's all different for every single person. There's not one quick answer, one quick fix. Little, you know, I get it a lot. What can I do? How can I speed it up? What can I change? You got to do small little tweaks. Got to be patient. Now I know that's rich coming from me. I go off and do some crazy things, and I don't always advise to do exactly what I'm doing. But you know, I'm trying a few different things so you can see what impact it has on me. The best thing you can do though yourself, make small little tweaks here, change a little thing once or twice a week, you know, small little things. What I will say is it all tends to level out in the end. We all end up getting to the level we want to be at our end goal. Now it might be 6, 12, 18 months for some people. The key main things you're going to need for this to get to where you want to be, whether it's a quick loss at the beginning, slow loss at the beginning, it's going to be positivity and patience. They're the two main things that you're going to need along with hard work. You know, the hard work and effort we put in means you will get to where you want to be. And don't forget, and I know I'm very rich saying this, it is a marathon. To be honest, it's not even a marathon. I don't even say it's a marathon anymore. I don't think, or try not to say it's a walk. It's definitely not a sprint. It's not a marathon. It's a walk. It's natural to feel that little bit of envy, a little bit of jealousy, but you know, be patient, work with the medication, work with your providers. I think a lot of people forget you can go and speak to a provider if it's not working or it doesn't seem to work with you. Do the right things though, and over time, it will work for you. Just be patient and positive and put in the hard work. It will work. Next up, a big thank you to all of you. Now, the reason I'm saying to all of you is because I have had a lot of support, a lot more support. Maybe I shouldn't have been surprised. You guys are fantastic. You really do give me some great tips, advice and support along the way, as you do for each other. But yet there was a lot more than I thought. We're going to said, yeah, good idea, Phil. Give yourself a bit of a reboot, a bit of a recharge, see how it goes for you. But even if you weren't supportive of that idea, you were still supportive of the idea that I was trying something new. I was trying to change it up. I was, you know, trying something a bit different. And then again, the other camp was, even if you didn't support all that, it's my journey and you're happy just to watch along to see what I do, whether I mess it up or whether it works brilliantly for me. You're here to watch my journey and that's the reason why you're following along. So thank you for all that support. You know, I was trying something new. It is my journey. I do generally forget that. I don't want to slip into trying to do things that make you all happy. I just need to keep documenting what I'm going through and what I'm doing. And, you know, that seems to be what you guys like. But it did mean a lot. You know, the support regardless meant a lot. And I think you can probably tell by this week, it's given me a massive lift. It's given me a huge boost of positivity. And I think you can tell from this week's vibe, if you want to call it. I don't like the word vibe, but yeah, the vibe to this week's Waffle Section is much more upbeat, much more cheery and much more positive, and that's what I needed, and that's exactly the thing I was hoping for with the reboot and the recharge. But it was your guys' support, so thank you for that. But just on top of that, obviously there were one or two that weren't too happy. There wasn't a great deal, but yeah, everyone's not going to like the idea, everyone's not going to support it, and that's fine. Absolutely everyone on this channel is welcome to their own opinion, as long as you're not being nasty, obstructive, unsupportive. Some people, I have banned about 2 or 3 people now, just keep coming on and telling me that I'm just lazy and things like that and just get the gym, which, you know, that's their opinion, but we don't need that kind of negativity throughout the comments here. So they've gone. I did get called a sales agent for Voy by someone, which tickled me. You know, completely welcome to their opinion. That's absolutely fine. I didn't ban them. They're absolutely fine to that opinion. That's how they feel. I can understand it. While I'm on that though, there is still a 25% discount if your first order from Voy in the description of this video below. Use the code PhilYT, that's double L, the name of the channel. People are starting to get onto that now, I think, at last. But yeah, use that, you get 25% of your first order. That's 2.5, 5, 7.5 or whatever, you get 25% of that first order. One other person told me that I shouldn't need dietitians or, you know, coaches. I should just be really, really strict. I did point out that I have been for 6 months, off and on. There's been, you know, the odd dip into chocolate gate and things like that. But yeah, I tried to explain to them that I wanted something more structured. I wanted something a bit different. I wanted a bit more support. But And yeah, just going back to that point, I know Voy is a little bit more expensive than others. It's not the most expensive, there's other more expensive, but the 25% off means I can get 4 weeks. I get the 25% off my first order as well. But I can get 4 weeks to see if it makes that much of a difference. If the extra help, support, the access to the dietitians, the coaches, the way the app works, all built into one. If it does, fantastic. It's also good for those who, who move providers every 4 weeks. You get the discount and they move and get the discount. That's fine, take advantage of that. That's exactly what it's there for. Much more on the Void program later. I won't spoil too much of that now. But yeah, those couple of negative comments aside, and there were a few others, the comments that, give me the big boost, the encouragement this week, I'm really appreciative of. And there was actually one I wanted to point out, and it's from Heike in Mainz in Germany. I hope I've got your name there right, Heike. But they said as part of their doctor's program, their doctor recommends a mini reboot when you do hit a plateau, and they actually schedule it in. So when they see their patients having a plateau, they do a mini reboot, and they've had fantastic success with doing that. So hopefully I might be onto something, guys. Not recommending you all do it just before I get abuse in the comments again. But yeah, that could be something. I might be onto something. Let's find out. Finally this week, just a quick mention that this is going to be down to a 5-day update, not a full 7-day update. Now, those who've watched me for a while, remember I did this a couple of other times before I went away to Alcudia. I try and not do the videos over the weekend, so I try and post them in the middle of the week, which means recording earlier in the week and editing and posting around a Wednesday I'm trying to aim for. But to do that, I need to make a couple of shorter ones, so a 5-day and a 5-day next week, and hopefully that'll get me back to pushing to roughly in the middle of the week. Just means I'm not working my 9 to 5 during the week, then doing videos all weekend, trying to save a bit of family time there. So yeah, it's a slightly shorter one. And a slightly shorter one next week, hopefully get me in line. I shouldn't need to do more than 2, hopefully. So doing the 9 to 5 and the videos on the weekend is so much easier than working and entertaining the kids at the moment. These 6-week summer holidays are surely, it's been about 12 weeks, hasn't it now already? Everyone ready to send their kids back? Yeah, me too. But that is it for me this week in the Waffle section. I did tell you I was going to be much shorter, but let's get straight now into some highs and hellos. And we will start this week with hello to Keith. I am not quite sure how I managed to miss you last week, Keith. I'm so sorry. But I need to say a big thank you, mate, to Keith. He did me a rap, which was in the comments last week, and it's absolutely fantastic. So Keith, thank you so much for that. I'll pop it up on screen now. I appreciate it. So that's now a rap and a poem I've had during the short time this channel's been going, but I really do appreciate it. Thanks, Keith. It was a really nice touch. Hi, Donna from Lincolnshire Next. Donna was struggling a little bit with her weight loss. She'd plateaued a little bit, moved up to 7.5, and in the 2 weeks since, she's managed to drop 8 pounds. So congratulations, Donna. It looks like it was definitely the right time for you to step up. Hello to Susan next, and it could have been Susan I was saying hello to last week when I was saying hello to Sue, but it's not. It's Susan this week. It was Sue last week. It's 2 different people. It's a Sue and a Susan. But I'm extremely lucky to have a Sue and a Susan who are very similar, very supportive, send me loads of good advice, tips, always there to offer me some support when something's gone a little bit wrong in the past. So this week, Susan, hello and thank you so much. But I also wanted to say to Susan, 39 pounds down, just 8 more to go till you hit your goal weight, Susan. You're so close, and after that 39 pound off, you'll be there in no time. So hi, Sue, thank you, and good luck with those final 8 pounds. Keep me posted. Hi to Oliver next, who's been enjoying the updates, and he's a fantastic 29 pounds down in just 6 weeks. Great achievement, mate, and really good reward for the hard effort you've been putting in. Keep it up. Hello to Josh in Hertfordshire next. Josh is just 8 weeks into his journey, is already a brilliant 34 pounds down. Just 12 more pounds to go, and Josh will go under the 20 stone mark. Now, this will be a massive achievement for Josh. He'll go under the 20 stone mark for the first time in just over 14 years, all the way back to when he was 18. Based on your first 8 weeks, Josh, I have no doubt you'll be there in no time, mate. You'll be under that 20 stone mark, and you'll be flying past that into the 19s and 18s. Keep it up, mate. Finally this week, it's another big contributor to this channel, and you will always find her in the comments. She's always got nice, positive words to say to people. She always has loads of great advice, and it is Jo. Hi, Jo. Jo always gives me great feedback, advice, positivity. She's such a bubbly person, and I know this because she's got her own YouTube channel. If you haven't checked it out, check out Jo's YouTube channel. Give it a watch. I guarantee it, she will bring a smile to your face. Jo can be found at Jo's Sleep and Slim Down Journey. Hi, Jo, and congratulations on a fantastic 61.5 pounds down. and counting, Joe. Keep smashing it, Joe. You're doing absolutely fantastic. But just like that, we are now all waffled out. It is time for some tips, advice, news, questions, queries, and more in this week's community news. And this week in the community news, I'm going to start with a news story that I picked up from The Independent this week. It ran a story saying that the major drug manufacturers, mainly just Eli Lilly and Novo Nordisk, who produce, Mounjaro, Ozempic, Zepbound, and Wegovy, I think. They're currently testing, and I think I've covered some of this in previous videos, they're testing at least several other benefits to the medication, but now officially testing them, and what other benefits the GLP-1 drug types might offer, apart from just weight loss and diabetes help. Now I'm going to run through these in no particular order, and there's a lot to get off here, so I'm just going to fly through it. You can always rewind and listen if you want to, but the first one is alcohol addiction. I've definitely mentioned this before. They're checking into it to see the positive impacts it might be having on people who are alcohol dependent. We've spoken about this ourselves in videos. People have been given updates. A lot of you have seen a lack of interest in alcohol. Some people have gone completely off it altogether. But now Eli Lilly, as reported in the past, are seriously looking into alcohol dependency and the benefits it might have with Mounjaro. Alzheimer's disease is one they're looking into as well. They hope to have some initial data on this or to report on as early as this year. Cardiovascular diseases. Now Eli Lilly pulled their investigations earlier this year, but Novo Nordisk got approval last year from the European Medicines Agency to use their medication to help with the disease. So that's a brilliant positive. Chronic kidney disease. Ozempic is already approved in the USA for reducing the risk of kidney failure and disease progression, as well as the risk of death due to heart problems for diabetes patients with chronic kidney disease, and Eli Lilly is halfway through testing the medication themselves. Liver disease. Novo's in the late stage trial with patients for NASH. Now this is a non-alcoholic steatohepatitis and hopes to have its study ready for 2029. Now Eli Lilly has already helped 74% of patients achieve absence of the disease with no worsening of liver scarring at 52 weeks compared to just 13% who were given a placebo instead in their mid-stage trial for NASH, which is now known as MASH, metabolic dysfunction associated steatohepatitis. I have no idea, I've just said those words right, I hope I have. Neurological disorders next. I might have even said that one wrong now. My brain's gone to mush. Neurological disorders. Semaglutide has been tested along with a very low calorie diet. I'm not sure how low calorie that is, but as a treatment for new onset. These words are ridiculous. Idiopathic intracranial hypertension, which is a condition associated with obesity in which blood pressure inside the head rises. And finally, sleep apnea. Zepbound was already approved by the USA FDA, the Food and Drug Administration, for obstructive sleep apnea back in December 2024, which made that the first drug to directly treat patients with this common disorder, which causes breathing disruption while sleeping. Wow, there was a lot to get through there. There was a lot of big words. I probably butchered them. I know you'll all be on to me, but I'm just some simple Scouse lad trying to say big scientific words. So apologies for any scientific or medicated words I butchered there. I thought it was worthwhile covering that. I've said it a few times in the comments over various updates, but these drugs seem to be revealing more and more benefits the further that the companies look into them, the further the science looks into them, and let's hope they keep tweaking them, they keep coming out with new versions of them, and we keep getting further advances in these diseases and lots of others down the road. Now that's out the way, we've got a question, and a question comes from Ian this week, and he is torn over moving up in dose to 7.5 milligrams. Now he's torn because he doesn't know whether to go straight to 7.5 milligrams every 7 days or whether to split dose every 5 days and take 3.75 milligrams. Now I did slightly similar. I went up to 7.5 milligrams and wasn't happy, didn't think it was working as well, and dropped back down to 5 milligrams every 5 days. But what Ian is suggesting is slightly different, and I thought that was anyone's done this before, you've stepped up in dose. It doesn't have to be 7.5 milligrams, but you've stepped up and then microdosed or half dosed, I suppose it's called. Every 5 days as opposed to the 7. If you could stick any advice or tips for Ian in the comments, I can't really help him too much there. But yeah, let me know what you all think about splitting or half dosing, whichever is the right terminology there. Stick it in the comments and give Ian a bit of advice if you've done it, please. Next up, we've got Jim, who's asking for some advice too, and it's not one that I've heard of. So apart from offering Jim the usual, go and speak to your provider, see what they recommend, which is always a great place to start. I said to Jim I'd ask him this week's update, and what's happening with Jim is Jim's been on Mounjaro now for 4 months. He's been on 2.5 milligrams for the whole time. Jordan, well, say for that whole time, he's been on 2.5 milligrams for a good few months, and then he tried to step up to 5 milligrams, and he had such bad sickness and vomiting and diarrhea and things like that he actually couldn't go to work. So he lost a whole day's work. So he stepped back down to 2.5 milligrams after trying to persist with that for 3 weeks. Every time he jabbed, he'd be really, really sick, and then end up losing a day's work. So he went back down to 2.5 milligrams, and a month later, he decided to try by just going up to 3.75, so in between the 2.5 and the 5 milligrams. And the same thing happened. He vomited and diarrhea, lost a couple more days' work. Now, Jim's asking the question, is there anything else he can try or do? Or is his body just not meant for anything over 2.5 milligrams? Now, I've not heard this one before. If it's happened to you, if you've got any tips, advice, or any ideas or suggestions for Jim, then please leave them in the comments below, because I'm out with this one. I can't think of, apart from going up in really small increments, which it's going to get expensive doing it that way. But yeah, I've got nothing else there. So hopefully some guy and girls in here have had this or know about what to do with it. The provider can't help Jim, and hopefully get you some answers. And finally this week, I'm going to move on to a tip that so many of you have offered me this week and over the last few weeks, and it's chia seeds. You've all been suggesting, you've all been saying various great tips and advice and things to do with these. I picked some up, I'm going to start adding them into my diet, and I'm going to see how I go with them. But yeah, chia seeds seems to be the big one from all of you, and I'll let you know in next week's update just exactly if they've had any impact at all for me and how they went, and even what they taste like. I never liked them and what I do with them. So yeah, that'll be interesting. That's it for this week's community news though, and as ever, if you've got any tips, advice, questions that you want answering, or just you want to share some things with the community in the community news, leave it in the comments and we'll try and get through as many as we can in next week's update. Now though, it is time for my rebooted weekly update. But just before I go through those past 5 days, if you found any of this video insightful, useful, fun, you're just enjoying it, please like and subscribe, hit the notification bell so you get told when the next video comes out, and help this community grow even further. So let's start by finding out what I've been munching on this week and what my diet has consisted of before we move on to exercise and the impact of not drinking on my body. So we're going to start Monday the 4th of August, and there'll be some new screenshots for these updates. As I said, I'm now using the Voy app instead of NucheCheck for food logging. I must say I'm impressed with it. The NucheCheck app is still fantastic. For anyone who's not on Voy, use that app, it is brilliant. But I must say I'm really, really impressed with the AI, and what you do is you take a photo of your meal, you say what's in there, so you take a photo, you say, oh, it's this, this, and this, just in case any of the ingredients are hidden and the photo doesn't show it. And then say why you're eating it. Was it mealtime? Were you just snacking? Was it just there? Were you hungry? That kind of thing. And after about 60 seconds, it comes down and gives you a breakdown of everything that it thinks in that meal. And you'll see all this in the screenshots. As you can see though, I started the day with some Greek yogurt, a banana, some blueberries, and a teaspoon of honey. And you can see that there's a breakdown of protein, carbs, fats, fruit and veg, added sugars, and portion size. Then it gives the meal a score out of 10, 10 being the best, and how healthy that was. And then it'll give you the risk and the chances of you snacking throughout the day based on what you've ate, which some meals are going to make you feel more fuller for longer and things like that. But it'll also tell you some good little tips and tricks to boost the fiber and the protein in that meal and what you could add to it to improve it, to get it close to a 10 out of 10. And this is really handy for those who really like the stats and the breakdown of the food and things like that. If you really dig to your meals in depth. I don't too much, but it was good to see a score out of 10. I'll probably use that more than anything. But for this breakfast, I could see that if I added some whole grain cereals like oats, or as I mentioned just before, chia seeds, just some more yogurt in this case, then my protein was going to go up. Great little insight. I'm not going to go over this for every meal. I'm just pointing this out now so you can see what's going on. You can pause and have a little look yourself. You see what suggestions it's making. This kind of thing, I love AI. This is what AI is so good at, but it's all getting done by AI. It can get it wrong, and I'm sure it will on occasions, but impressive nonetheless. And brekkie for me, according to the AI, was around 290 calories. Lunch on the Monday was barbecue chicken breast and salad, scoring an 8.5 and coming in at around 460 calories. And dinner was the old faithful chicken, whole grain rice, hot sauce, and a little bit of mayo. Don't worry, things are going to change this week. It's not the same repetitive meals. But that was a 7 out of 10 and about 440 calories. So that's about 1,200 calories for the whole day. And I must admit, I did feel tired quite a lot on Monday. Obviously, I'm going to try and cover a little bit of the changes that I've gone through. I've been jabbed that first night, the day before, so Sunday the 3rd. But that was a 2.5 milligram jab, way down from the 7.5 milligrams I'd had over 2 weeks prior. Don't forget, I had no Mounjaro in my system, or no fresh Mounjaro in my system, or new Mounjaro in my system for just over 2 weeks. Tuesday was the same breakfast of Greek yogurt, banana, blueberries, teaspoon of honey, which scored a 7 and around 300 calories. Obviously, it'll change based on the size of the portion. If I think there's more stuff there, so that's why there's going to be a variation in calories from each photograph. Lunch, I managed to get an 8 out of 10, which was barbecue chicken breast with some spinach, and that was around 470 calories. Then dinner was grilled chicken thighs. I say grilled, they were done in the air fryer with a little bit of seasoning on, so like paprika and some herbs and spices and stuff like that. And that was on top of a salad, which I actually topped with a little bit of cheddar cheese, around 50 grams. Got a 7 out of 10 rating. It was around 1,050 calories, meaning I cleared about 1,800 calories on a Tuesday. So I'm managing to up those calories, which was part of this goal. After a lot of you said I probably wasn't eating enough, trying to boost that from what I was eating in the past. Don't manage to do it every day. Tuesday again, just to mention, I was a little fatigued again, so that was Monday and Tuesday. I never experienced this when I started Mounjaro last time, so I don't know what's going on there. But yeah, Monday and Tuesday. Tuesday was a little bit fatigued. I wasn't expecting it, maybe from dropping down from 2 weeks of the high calories down to the low calories from the previous 2 weeks. But yeah, at the same time, the medication's not boosting me energy levels like it did the first time around when I started on 2.5 milligrams. Maybe I just forgot that at the time. Maybe it didn't back then, but I felt like it did. But yeah, it didn't feel like it did previously. Wednesday was in the office, so I was not working from home that day. I started the day with a Huel protein shake, 2 boiled eggs, and a banana. Mix things up a little bit as I'm trying to, like I said, I promised to myself I was going to try and do that. I think this is a little bit wrong though from the AI, because it's got me down to 420 calories for breakfast. Now the Huel shake alone is 400. I know 2 boiled eggs and a banana definitely aren't 20 calories. So yeah, next time I'm going to state, when I take the picture, I'm going to say it's a Huel protein shake with 400 calories and see whether that makes any difference to it. But yeah, I got a 9 out of 10 rating, so that was one of my best meals so far that I've had. Lunch was some California sushi dragon rolls and some watermelon, just a 5.5 rating there. It wasn't happy with me for that one, and just 345 calories for lunch. Dinner though that night was a tuna and cheese salad. So I did the same salad again, bit of cheese on top again, some pickled onions, but this time with tuna, so no chicken, guys. I know you're gonna start freaking out. 8.5 rated meal though, so I thought it was a decent meal, and it was 600 calories, meaning a total of around 1,400 calories. Like I said, breakfast, probably a little bit low there, probably 200 calories low. So it's more likely I had around 1,600 calories that day. Now Thursday, we added some mixed fruit and nuts to the Greek yogurt, but lost the blueberries just basically because I ran out and forgot to buy some more. But we added the fruit and nuts, and we got a 7 rating from the app for that, around 400 calories, obviously boosted from the fruit and nut as opposed to the blueberries. Lunch was barbecue chicken breast with a salad, pickled onions, and a Pepsi Max cherry, and 8.5 rating and nearly 500 calories for lunch that day. Dinner, we've got another change. Chicken's back, but it was with some hot sauce, mayo, and couscous, a Mediterranean-style couscous, as opposed to the usual whole grain rice. That was really tasty. I've bought a few more packets of couscous this week. The problem with that though, it was a 7 rated meal, but only 400 calories because the couscous was so low. So only around 1,300 calories for the day then. So a little low on Thursday. Friday was exactly the same brekkie, the banana, the Greek yogurt, the mixed fruit and nut, the honey, and around 430 calories. It must have been a slightly bigger portion that day. Lunch was sweet chili chicken breast with pickled onions, a salad, and an 8.5 rating that day, 400 calories. Dinner on the Friday was chippy for the family, so I decided I was going to treat myself to a little chippy tea, but I didn't have what they did. I did eat 3 chips from the wrapper, so let's not tell anyone. We'll keep that one secret between us. But I decided I was going to have a hot and sour soup. Now, this was another problem because I only got a 7 rating from the app, but it means it was just 160 calories for the small hot and sour soup, which means I only just cleared 1,000 calories a day. So I've kind of gone backwards the last couple of days on lower calories than I meant to have, but yeah. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, energy levels are definitely up though. I should have mentioned that, but yeah, there's definitely the first couple of days was sluggish, tired, lethargic, but fatigued, back to normal. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. But that could also be the healthier food, no alcohol for a few days. I think maybe it is the medication starting to kick in and be a bit more effective again. Wednesday, like I said, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, energy levels are back up. Now, Wednesday night, something different did happen. I woke up, or struggled to get to sleep, should I say. I didn't get to sleep till about 3, half 3 in the morning, a bit of insomnia. I don't ever suffer from insomnia, so I'm not sure what happened there. Is the medication? Nothing was on my mind, didn't feel stressed. I just could not get to sleep. But I woke up Thursday feeling fine and I wasn't tired, so that was a bonus. Thursday night itself though, I woke up 2 or 3 times, I think it was 3 in the end, in the night with a bit of a sore stomach and a couple of trips to the toilet, which again, I've not really had before. Could have been changed. There's a lot of salad going in there. Could be the medication, but it was just that night, and yeah, it could have been something I ate, or it could be the medication, but a couple of trips to the toilet that night. Also, I thought it was worth mentioning that the beginning of the week I did have a good few stomach rumblings, nothing severe, and a good old glass of water or a few swigs of water, and it was sorted, it went away. And that didn't really happen from Wednesday onwards, so the medication was kicking in again. I'll be interested to see when I get to Saturday and Sunday as it starts wearing off, and especially being a lower dose, whether those stomach rumblings come back. So that's it for diet this week, but what about exercise? Now, anyone who saw the post will know that I finally dragged my excuse-making butt out and got out for the first run for way over 2 months. I actually got out for a couple of runs, jogs, fast walk, whatever you want to call it. When you see the times and speeds, you can be the judge, but for me, it was a jog. So Tuesday, I managed to get out and I did a 20-minute non-stop run. That was my first run, like I said, for just over 20 minutes. First jog, whatever you want to call it. Albeit not a lightning pace, but it was my first in over 2 months. I started up there for the run, most of which I don't understand. I know roughly what they are. I've got no idea how to look at them in depth and how to improve them. But yeah, I don't know if they're good or bad. At the time and distance, they're the only two things that I really look at. Maybe calories burned sometimes and things like that. I did this again on Thursday, but I did a slight tweak to it. I ran for the first mile and then I did some, it wasn't HIIT training, but it was some fast run, nearly a full out sprint, about 80%, and then walk, repeat, walk, repeat, walk. I mixed it up a little bit, kept the body guessing as everyone says you should, you know, especially with my body being this fine-tuned machine that it is. Next up, there's some steps for the week. Now, you'll see Monday was low, around just 5,000 steps, but then it picks up every day over the next few days, and you can see the weekly average is around 9,250 steps, so that's okay. Sleep's another factor. I always forget to monitor, but I know it can have an impact on the weight loss, and I averaged around 6 hours and 30 minutes, which is above my average. I normally need about 6 hours sleep, so a little bit better this week than my normal average. Now that is it for the exercise this week. I'm gonna move straight onto the booze. This might interest a lot of you, but basically it's a little app and it tells you what's happening to your body the longer and you stop drinking alcohol. I'll pop them up on screen, you can cycle through them. The ones I always like is the ones that I always find the most benefit from when I stop drinking are the mental ones. Now, not the crazy mental ones, but the brain related ones. You see, I've got a really bad memory now. I don't forget things like my keys or my phone or my wallet or where to park the car or where I've left the kids or things like that. But in general knowledge, I'm fantastic at that. Things like that always come back. I won't say I'm fantastic. I love quizzes and I think I'm all right at them. But yeah, it's things like, if someone said to me, did you do this in work 4 weeks ago, 8 weeks ago? I just completely forget. I have to write things like that down. I forget, did I do that? Was it me? I can't remember. And those type of things. So it's not forgetting things or where I am or places, that kind of things. But yeah, when I stop drinking, I do see this vastly improves, and that's why I want to cover it here. The ones you'll see and have a little look around, the ones around neurons, grey matter, cognitive functions, and mental clarity. They're massive ones for me. They really do improve over time. The longer I go without drinking, it's like my brain switches back on and things start being recorded, and that really works for me. And I'm really looking for those benefits coming over the next month, 2 months, however long I'm not drinking for this time. The rest aren't bad things either, to improve, when you're not drinking. So I don't want to be a killjoy here by any means. I have drank since my mid-teens. I was drinking up until last week, so I'm not being a hypocrite here. But yeah, I like these dry spells, bans on myself on alcohol, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, I really do feel the massive mental effect and the other good positive things. Sleep, the big one as well. After about a week, 2 weeks not drinking, I'm headed to pillow and bang, straight asleep. But I wake up feeling so fresh and positive every single day. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to a good few months, no drinking, and the positive benefits and things that are going to come with that for me. And finally, the last thing I want to cover that the app actually covers, and it's similar to, I think a lot of you use Shotzi and things like that, but it just shows you the amount of medication that's in your body from day to day and how it weans off or drops off. And I'm interested to see how that goes when I take the injection on Sunday night and what that jumps up to. And as that grows and as I move up in dose, I'll be really interested to see that. I know you can get that from Shotzi, but it's all built into the Voy app and I can keep it all together in one big place. So I'll pop that up now and you can have a little look at what's in my system at the moment. So results time then. What did going back to 2.5 milligram after a 2-week break, after getting back on a healthy diet, some exercise, plus a couple of runs under my belt, what did it do to my weight after just 5 days? So I got on the scales on Monday, the 4th of August, and I weighed 16 stone 11 pound. That is 235 pound or around 106 kilos. When I got on the scales this morning, that's Friday the 8th of August, I weighed 16 stone 9 pounds, that's 233 pound or around 105 kilos. So over the 5 days I've been back at it, I've lost a 2 pound or 1 kilo, as you can see there on the weight loss app. And I am happy with that. I'm not gonna lie, I thought it might be more. I am happy with the loss, but I thought it might have been more. You know, it's a bit of a drop off, but then again, it is only 5 days. I need to remember that this will be my journey now going forward as well. I'm not gonna have those huge losses I did at the beginning when I first started losing it. I was nearly 20 stone. So yeah, happy with that initial loss, especially like I said, being a 5-day weigh-in. And don't forget the next one will be a 5-day weigh-in as well, as I try and get the videos back into a midweek release. Now, I hope you've enjoyed that slightly tweaked, rebooted version of the weekly update with the diet, exercise and everything split out a little bit more, a bit more depth and in detail. Slightly shorter waffle section. To be honest, that was more like the normal length waffle section. All in all, I feel like I'm getting back on track. Not all the way there yet, but soon. And hopefully I think, you know, I can take this first week, kick on. You know, the diet is okay, more exercise, some more varied exercise going to be happening. I'm trying to skip him when I can't get out the house, as someone recommended the other week, or some of you recommended the other week. Weights are definitely going to come into it. The booze is going to stay off for now, I think. I'm still need to book my dietitian call. I haven't got around to that yet. I was too busy with work and everything this week to fit it in, but I need to look at when they're free next week. There's lots of slots. It's a 20-minute slot. I'll get that booked in, hopefully. But that'll be next week because I don't think they work over the weekend. I need to check that if they are. That will be much better. Nothing major is coming up for this next week. It will be a shorter update, as I keep saying. It'll be a 5-day one again. But for now, if you found any of this useful and insightful, then please do like and subscribe. Help grow the channel further. Help grow the community further. If you've got any advice, tips, or questions, or anything you need answering, stick that in the comments below, and I'll try my best to get back to you next week, or someone in the community will reach out and help you. Keep doing what you're doing. You're absolutely smashing it. You can do this. If I can do this, you can do this. We can all do this. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.